Well, this was actually Bill Clinton's theme song when he campaigned, but President Obama yesterday in Ireland got to spend the better part of a day and had to leave early because of that volcano and that ash cloud. He had to get over to cross the Irish Sea over to London. And while the president was in Ireland, he talked about the fact that the Irish and the American are kindred spirits. Here's what he said.
We're peoples, the Irish and Americans, who never stop imagining a brighter future, even in bitter times. We're people who make that future happen through hard work and through sacrifice.
Oh my gosh, the president recalled his campaign theme, and he said it in Irish. Here's what that sounded like.
It's Féidir Yes, we can. Yes, we can. It's Féidir
Oh boy, is that kind of like Kennedy when he was in Germany? Eis Berliner or whatever it was, and he's speaking in Irish. And earlier he went to Moneygall, and he chatted with patrons in a local pub.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you. And is this your family?
My wife, yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
nice to see you.
Did you hear him putting on a bit of a brogue? Oh. Really? We're going to go live to Ireland in just a couple of minutes, in fact, and speak with a rector at the Church of Ireland about Obama's visit to the beloved Emerald Isle. Chrysler is poised to pay back nearly $6 billion in government loans and interest, and they're going to celebrate the milestone with a couple of White House aides today. The auto czar Ron Bloom and the Deputy White House Economic Council Director Brian Dees are going to join Sergio Marchionne at the Sterling Heights Assembly Plant, and they're going to celebrate. And it seems like everything old is new again because many moons ago, Lee Iacocca paid off the debt of the Chrysler Corporation, and a guy who knew Lee Iacocca, sort of, and fought against him, in fact, in divorce court. John Schaefer, my old friend of J.P. McCarthy in Birmingham, Michigan, one of the most successful lawyers in America, according to Worth magazine. He handled Dart versus Dart and Nasser versus Nasser. That was the Ford Motor Company CEO. And then Iacocca versus Iacocca, studied at Michigan State, Notre Dame, and the Detroit College of Law. And he's on the other end of our line this morning. Good morning to you, Counselor.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Well, it's so great to hear your voice again. How are things?
Everything is wonderful, thank you. It's nice to hear you, and it was interesting to hear the president speaking Irish.
Yeah, that's something kind of different, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yes. Although my mother and grandmother spoke Gaelic, they called it Gaelic then.
Yeah, when we're a little parochial about it. We'd like to call it the Irish when we're in Ireland.
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
Sounds like chickens, actually.
Yeah, the problem with learning that language is nobody else knows how to speak it, so you're kind of lonely.
That's true.
Because I took lessons at the Gaelic League. I used to take whistle lessons down in Detroit at the Gaelic League and Irish lessons, but no one knows how to talk it unless you go out to Dingle or someplace like that. My wife is a dentist. She will often bring home the magazines from the office because she knows I like to read. And she handed me the latest edition of Time magazine and said, "Oh, here's a magazine for you." And I said, "Thanks." And I looked at the headline, and I'm holding it up for everyone watching on Fox 47 television. Sex, Lies, Arrogance. What makes powerful men act like pigs?
I saw the cover. I didn't get in there yet.
I was like, there's a little picture of a pig, and I'm like, gee, thanks, Christine. What are you trying to tell me? But I guess this is going to come possibly with a very big price for Arnold Schwarzenegger. What was your reaction when you heard the news?
Well, it's interesting, but sex, lies, pigs. There's no question but that affluence is in some substantial measure the mother of divorce. And who knows whether that's just too much leisure time or power. Mm-hmm. But in any event, I was surprised, although I guess Arnold has, over the years, been accused by any number of people of all kinds of groping, but that doesn't rise quite to the level of having a child with one's maid.
No, and as the thing of it is, the word is that they have a prenuptial agreement, but they've been married 25 years, and so therefore the prenup could be tossed out. I didn't realize that could happen.
Well, there are often sunset provisions in prenuptial agreements, and 25 years is not a bad benchmark for that. But absent a sunset provision, I think that most courts are going to enforce premarital agreements, and California has long been a leader in the enforcement of those types of agreements. Unlike Michigan, where we've been slow to come around toward accepting them.
Sounds so romantic, doesn't it? Sunset provision. We know what it means. It means the end of the deal. But in terms of romance, it's as if you've made it 25 years, you're going off into the sunset. And
There you go.
It doesn't always work like that. Their fortune is estimated somewhere between $200 and $400 million, a power couple of Maria Shriver and Arnold Schwarzenegger. She going to get, let's say it's $400 million just for fun. She going to get half of that, you think?
Well, it's interesting. I just finished a case in California, and they're pretty clear out there in the way things work, and it's a little bit more even computer-driven than we are, and than equitable distribution states. There are fundamentally two kinds of property division laws. One is equitable distribution, which is what we have in Michigan, which means the court is supposed to do whatever is fair and reasonable and equitable under the circumstances. The other kind of state, which is what California is a community property state, which means two things. One, to the extent that you have any property that you've brought to the marriage or have inherited during the marriage, that is characterized as separate property and is put aside for the person who owns it. And in this case, my understanding is that Maria Shriver has substantial separate property that she brought to the marriage, so that's going to be hers. Now, any property acquired between the parties earned by them during the course of their marriage is community property, and in a community property state, it's divided equally.
You know, Maria Shriver doesn't strike me as the kind of woman who would write a tell-all book, but I suppose Arnold would want that as part of the provision, too. But we'll see how it all shakes out. And if you don't mind, we'll keep in touch, Counselor.
Well, it's great to talk to you, Michael. I hope that everything goes well for you and that this is a good day.
Thank you very much. I'll see you in Birmingham sometime soon. The great John Schaefer, one of the most successful attorneys in America.